Oh,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Horse Geeks podcast, where we look at horses and riding from the inside out. I'm Kirsten Nelson, professional horse trainer, and with me is my co-host, Deb Romero, certified Alexander Technique instructor. So today's topic, it kind of came up spontaneously, but we're going to just
yes,
dive
we're all
into
about
it.
that.
We're all about that. And so the topic title is, Are Big Moving Horses Really Moving in Balance?
Mm.
Something along those lines, because there's such an assumption out there, and I think it perpetuates dysfunctional coordination in horses
Yes.
because humans like to look at the head and neck position. Humans love to look at leg movement because it's the easiest thing to see on a horse.
And we're very visual. We're
We're very
very,
visual.
very visual instead of kinesthetic.
And so even the word impulsion has kind of come to mean faster speeds, longer strides, quicker tempos, um, tracking up, like all of that,
All
right?
that stuff.
And I
And we've
go,
talked about tracking up before and how we feel
yeah,
about
gaited
that.
horses blow that out of the water. I
It's true.
go, they'll track up all the time and have a completely upside down coordination. So tracking up means nothing to me as an indicator of
Of
anything.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't
No
really.
indication of balance whatsoever.
Yeah, because people don't think, oh, that front foot isn't coming off the ground. It's not that
And yeah,
the hind leg isn't tracking up deeper. It's that the front foot is too far backwards. That's
the
why
horse is
they
on falling on the
overtrack.
forehand, so it's pushing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then faster speeds, like it's come to mean, especially in dressage, that bigger movement, which means longer strides, more energy, more speed, that somehow indicates impulsion or balance.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not even a natural gait.
It can be.
Really?
It,
Because the stuff I've seen, it blows my mind away.
well, what you're seeing, and this is why we're having this discussion, is that horses get pushed into
Ah,
dropping the back and disengaging the hindquarters in order to move
perform that.
faster, take bigger strides, or hold quicker tempos. And so we actually destroy impulsion
Mhm.
in the process of trying to get big movement.
Do we want to go over what we consider impulsion?
I looked it up in the
Yeah.
dictionary. Yeah. It's an impulse. It's a desire.
It's a desire.
It's a
So,
desire.
okay.
It's also the result of a desire. And what's so
Interesting.
ironic to me is because dressage has sort of gravitated to this idea that faster speeds and longer strides are always better. The number one problem people have with their dressage horse is their horse losing forward.
Bingo.
They lose the desire to move
I
forward.
think that's the key. They
That to
lose
me is a loss of impulsion.
they lose the desire because they're out of balance. They're
Yeah,
communicating to us, hey, this doesn't work.
this isn't comfortable for
Yeah,
me. Yeah. And so losing a horse's desire to move energetically forward, if that isn't coming from the inside of the horse, then Houston, we have a problem.
yeah,
We have an imbalance, right? And we have also an imbalance regarding impulsion for horses that can't slow down.
same
Horses
thing.
that are
Hmm.
going so fast, you need the leverage of a bit to contain the forwardness. And I go, that's not balance either. But, and
That's
I,
so interesting because I keep wanting the show world to look different, and I'll watch a video of an upper level dressage competition, and it's all this ooh and ah of the leg movement, but the back's dropped
yeah,
and locked.
nobody's really focusing on the top line because it's much harder to see. But
Right.
it's the top line that really determines the overall posture, and that determines leg swing.
Hmm.
So, in order to increase leg swing and speed, it's often at the expense of the top line. It's often at the expense of how the spine, the back, the pelvis, the hindquarters, even the neck are being used.
And I've even seen, I was working with a retired Grand Prix dressage horse that was laterally walking.
Yeah, see, to me, that should be
That's
like that.
scary, scary, scary.
Seeing a lateral walk isn't really um, a downgrade of score in
I
dressage.
know.
And I think it should be a buzzer alert. I think it should
Yes.
be an elimination because it's
Hmm.
so dysfunctional. Because a
Right.
lateralized walk or pacing, even in
Hmm.
gaited horses, pacing is undesirable. The only time you want to see a horse pace is if they're swimming. That's when they naturally pace.
And still, how often do they swim? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't even,
But on
and
dry land, they should
on
not
dry,
be pacing.
that's their habitat. They should not be doing that because I would think that, correct me if I'm wrong, their back is locked if they're
It is.
laterally walking.
It is.
It's
And that's
totally
a
locked up.
yes. And it's like if we think of the back, it can either be going up or going down. It's never
Mm.
like static or neutral. It's
Hmm.
either going up, increasing spinal flexion, or it's going down, increasing spinal extension. And what a lateralized use of the limbs in horses is on dry land means it's down and stuck.
You know what would be a fun game just to throw out there for people is try it yourself.
Oh, yeah,
Try try to walk and swing your left arm and your left leg at the same time and see what that does to your body.
it rocks us.
Yeah.
We rock side to side.
Hmm.
And
It
what's
doesn't
funny
feel right.
is even if we as humans, if we kind of hold our back muscles as tight as possible,
Mm.
that's how we walk. We start moving the arm and leg the same on both sides. Instead of like natural walk for a human is when the left leg goes forward, the right arm is back, and vice
There's
versa.
a swing, there's a
Right,
spiral swing.
right. And
Yeah,
so if we lock our back muscles just to see what that feels like and start walking, we're going to lateralize as well
right.
because the back muscles are managing the forces of motion. And when they lock down, the limbs have to manage the forces of motion.
And that's a great point that the stability muscles are not doing their job and the mobility muscles, it's kind of swapped.
Right.
Right. So
And
this
so, and I'm picking on dressage a little bit for two reasons. Dressage is supposed to be about balance. It's
supposed to be the
the
fundamentals
fundamental cornerstone of training
of everything.
that
That's what I was taught.
gymnasticizes. Yeah, that gymnasticizes a horse.
Right.
And it should not be creating dysfunction. So I'm a little
Exactly.
harder on that sport than others. And when it comes to like jumping, whether it's stadium or cross country or um, what was I trying to think of? That race where they jump and race.
Steeplechase?
Steeplechase, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. But when we're jumping a horse, it's a little more life-threatening than doing a pattern in a flat arena. And so if your horse is too fast or loses forward, you resolve that sooner, or you don't take a horse to that extreme if you're jumping because it gets dangerous really fast. And so
Right.
I don't see it as much in the sports that inherently require more athleticism because an imbalance is going to create a bigger problem sooner. And in
Mm.
dressage, you can get away with a lot of dysfunction. Like at one time, I thought if a horse could do tempi lead changes, or even a lead change, or a pirouette, or do an actual pattern with transitions in all the right places, that
Hmm.
that action created balance. And I think that's how a lot of people think about it, is that if my horse can track a straight line,
Wow.
my horse must be in balance. Or if I track enough straight, accurate circles, corners, and straight lines, that's how I balance my horse. And it's not entirely wrong, but I go,
Mm.
even in a flexion test for a lame horse, that horse tracks a straight line. I go, so, and does a circle. So I go
Well, and it's the same, if you think about it, it's the same as humans. We can walk a straight line and be in dysfunction.
with a limp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
still walk the straight line with a hand tied behind our back.
Yeah. I used to say even a three-legged cat can get from here to there. And
Right,
so it doesn't mean it has very little to do with balance. If we're practicing accurate paths of travel over and over, that doesn't necessarily result in balance.
good
And
point.
if we're getting bigger, longer strides, faster movement, big movement, we call it, it's impressive to see because there's a lot of drama. So it keeps getting rewarded. But I go, is it at the expense of
Mm.
the back dropping and the pelvis becoming unstable? Or is it the result of the back lifting and the hindquarters being engaged? Because it could be either.
Right.
It could be
I
either.
haven't seen it, but like I said, I just see glimpses of upper level riders at a competition, and I don't see a lifted back. I can just say that.
Yeah. And I see the same. I'll pick a little bit on Western pleasure because or reining, because it can be similar to dressage, but it's in the Western world. And again, doing the maneuvers, getting through the test does not always result in balance. It's kind of a sink or swim situation when we think of training through maneuvers in order to get balance as a side
Right.
effect. And I go, if we seek balance as the objective, the ease of the maneuvers is actually the side effect. So
It's
we
kind
kind
of
of have
like
it
looking at
backwards.
yeah, like professional athletes. And I think Jean-Luc said this once in a clinic that you don't practice your dressage test every day. You practice, athletes practice proper biomechanics and use
Right.
to be able to do things.
Yeah. And it used to be that athletes just did supportive exercises like wind
Right.
sprints or, you know, weightlifting or something to kind of athletically develop the body. And biomechanics in human athletes has become a big thing
Yes.
because while you're doing the wind sprint, how you use yourself, how you coordinate internally is either going to improve athletic ability or kind of deplete the body in a way that you're risking injury or
Right.
you're taxing the body rather than building the strength. So it's not doing the exercise that gets the job done, it's how we do it that
Yeah.
makes all the difference.
And that's the fundamentals of our of my work is the how. And the we talked about it yesterday, the pause and
Mhm.
how important that is.
No, and all that takes is more awareness. Like
Exactly.
it's not any harder to train that way than it is any other way.
Right.
I go, but mentally or maybe emotionally, it can feel more demanding
Hmm.
to have awareness and clarity versus ticking off tasks and to-do
Yeah,
lists.
the checklist.
Yeah. It's
That's
like
much easier for us type A people.
yeah, yeah. But awareness, it's like, ooh, all of a sudden the spotlight is on the inside.
Mm.
And it takes more awareness, more clarity, more sensitivity to focus on internal things than it does going through the motions. I go, so
Right.
everybody gravitates to going through the motions, kind of crossing their fingers and hoping balance is the side effect as it's assumed.
Mm.
But that's exactly why there's
Mm.
fad and fashion in competition, competitive riding, right? So, like in the Western world, too slow is the problem. In the dressage world, too fast is the problem, right?
Yeah, I think I watched it was some sort of Western and their canter. I'm kind of confused on what that th the lope, I guess they call it. On it, it it's weird now. I don't know if you've
Well, and the original idea behind a lot of Western training is a long frame that is balanced is possible in a horse.
mm,
And it doesn't give you necessarily fast speeds and long strides. It provides comfort and ease. So if you're working on a ranch and you have to open gates and you have to move cattle and you
right.
have to haul things, it's like that healthy, long but balanced frame, it gives ease of motion. So the horses are more comfortable, the rider's more comfortable for long periods of riding and working at slower speeds. But then in the competition world, it just gravitated into slower equals better
Is that
and
what
kept
that is?
moving to slower and slower and the neck longer and lower. And it's like an imbalance is just too much of something.
Right. Well, that's a good point.
And I go,
Exactly.
so you can have too much slowness and you can have too much speed.
Hmm.
And in dressage, it just gravitated the other way. Faster equals better.
Driving, pushing, driving and pushing.
Because when you do gymnasticize a horse, you get more speed, you get more power as a result of refining the coordination. So dressage is sort of meant to go from that long balanced frame to sort of a shorter but still balanced frame in a horse. And that what that really means is the back lifts more, the hindquarters engage more, but a long frame, the back is still lifted and the hindquarters are still engaged. It's just more or less is what shortens the frame or lengthens the frame. But that's been really lost because when slower equals better, you lose the balance. And if faster equals better, you lose the balance. And horses compensate for that boundary of what we want, right? They compensate by dropping the back, disengaging the hindquarters, losing balance left to right. They compensate in all kinds of ways
Mhm.
in order to get the task done or the maneuver done, but it's at the expense of their balance.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do
That's
it all the time. We put
yes.
ourselves in precarious situations and fall, right? Because we just want to get it done,
We've got our
right?
little hamster on the wheel thinking.
Right. Or we're not aware. We're not paying attention to
Yeah.
how we're doing something and we wrench our back, we blow out our knee, we fall and hurt our shoulder like I did,
Yeah, something like
right?
that.
Yeah. And so it's that awareness that makes us feel like we have to slow down a little bit.
It
And
definitely is that slowing down with the awareness. That is sometimes a real frustrating place for humans.
yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to spend time there in and also in the kinesthetics of it all because like you said, we're such seers of oh, big movement, big this, but what are we feeling when we do a lateral walk in our own body? I mean,
right,
what's going on there? What
right.
information are we getting about? transference to our horses.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And the horses will do what we ask, but we're going to have side effects like, bites you when you girth up, hard to put the saddle on or the harness, busy mouths that we have to strap shut with a flash, right? Or bigger bits, or spurs, or more leverage,
Or
right?
with
Or more
Milo,
aids.
yeah, when we talked about my young guy Milo, just a little beginning of a pushback,
Yeah.
just a little like, no, that's I can't stay balanced and do that.
Yeah. And so riders, sort of in the effort to make it happen for the horse, the driving seat and the driving seat drives me up a wall. I go because when the rider leans back and starts driving, like pushing with the seat,
Mhm.
or even just leaning back, I go, if you look at a lot of even upper level riders, they're leaning back, especially in dressage. That's become the new fashion. It's not classically correct, but
No, it's not. If you go back to the classical stuff, you don't see that.
you just don't see it.
Mm-mm.
And now it's so many upper level riders are leaning back. And I go, so if you have an unbalanced horse going faster than they can manage their own body, and you have a rider leaning back with a double bridle, you have a water skiing arrangement. That is not balance, right?
No, and it's just the channel of information when you lean back, what happens with your arms. They've got these big things in their saddles to
The
push
thigh
against
blocks, yeah,
blocks. And I'm like, wow, what's the horse thinking about all that?
right. Because we are weight, we are mass, and
It's pure physics. We've talked about it before.
yep, and
It's just pure physics.
so when we generate all that driving seat force, you think horses are going to lift their back into that pressure? Like it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Not at
And
all.
people think they're sitting on the hindquarters to stabilize. I go, no, you're on the back. There's no saddle that sits on the
Well,
hindquarters. You're on
you're
the back,
close to the most sensitive part of the back, which is the lumbar, which has no protection.
right?
There's nothing there.
Very little muscle covering
And
the
if
lumbar.
you look at the skeletal, the ribs, there's hardly anything back there where you're sitting if you're
Yes,
leaning back.
yes,
So of course they're dropping their back. I mean,
yes.
to get away from it.
No, and another thing I see that isn't often recognized as disengagement, like we know what disengagement is if you bend your horse's neck and cross the hind legs laterally, right?
Right.
And the pelvis tilting side to side, I go, that's just a lateral disengagement. The other
Right.
way horses can disengage is vertically because
Good point.
they're horizontally shaped creatures. So I call it a cracker butt because it's flat and square.
I want to see a picture of that.
I'll have to find one. But if you look behind the saddle of horses, sometimes behind the saddle is flat. It's not, it's supposed to, but horses, a healthy, stable pelvis and healthy muscle development around an engaged pelvis is going to make a horse's hindquarter look sort of beach ball shaped. It's going
It's
to
going to
be
have a shape and
it's
not
going to be
indentations.
roundish. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to have the indentations we see on a lot of these horses.
right. So a vertical disengagement is the front side of the pelvis closest to the lumbar pushes
Hmm.
downward, which actually
Right,
elevates the lower part of the pelvis. So the horse's seat bones are on either side of the tail. We can feel the little hard bones either
right. The
side of the
little
tail.
bony bones.
So a vertical disengagement is the front of the pelvis pushing down, which is going to lift the back of the pelvis.
It's
So
like a high tail, right?
yeah, it's a high tail set,
A high
like
tail
an
is an easy way to
Arabian.
see it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
across from the saddle, it just looks flat. There's no round hindquarter. It just looks flat across the croup,
Wow.
the top of the hindquarter. And it can even be from a side view, sort of angular or
It is.
squarish
It's
or
very angular.
indented.
Hmm.
So from any point of view, a healthy developed hindquarter looks sort of beach ball shaped on a horse. And it doesn't matter if it's an Arab or a warm blood or a thoroughbred or a quarter horse. It's not going to have little deflated areas and little bulgy areas,
That's
and
a
it's
good
not going
point.
to be flat or angular. It's going to be roundish.
I mean, those are the big changes we've seen in my guy Milo over the 8 months I've had him with long lining and proper biomechanics. He's gone up 2 blanket sizes
Yeah,
just to cover the mass,
yeah, just getting wider.
just getting wider.
Yeah.
We saw that in the video, which is on your YouTube channel, right? I
Yeah,
hope.
I posted
Yeah.
it and I sent you the link, and it
Yes, thank
was
you.
it was most obvious through his leg stance.
Yeah, when he would stop, it was like, wow,
Well, and this is
look at
exactly
that.
the point. For 8 months, you've been working on how he's using his skull, spine, and pelvis. And then
Exactly.
suddenly,
Nothing else.
suddenly sort of realizing, oh, look, the front legs have more distance between them. He has a wider stance.
Hmm.
The hind legs have more distance between them. They have a wider stance. But
Hmm.
what I see all the time, especially like on, these groups on the internet, they're trying to figure out clever ways and gadgets to widen the legs. And I go, it's missing the
Sorry.
point.
Well, it's the same thing in my work, thinking you've got to fix the arms and the legs. That's no, you have to work with the head, neck, back, and pelvis because that's what fixes the legs.
Yeah, the
That's the bottom
limbs,
line.
the
It's just the truth.
limbs don't,
It's
yeah.
just, it's the truth.
And the central, it's even called the axial skeleton. It's the axis of the body, the
Hmm.
skull, spine, and pelvis. And I go, ribs are kind of included in that picture. But that's what determines the use of the limbs, not the other way around.
Right.
And
We're looking at the wrong thing, is what our eyes are attracted to.
right. So I
We're
saw
looking,
for a while
yeah.
over and over people trying to supple the thoracic sling. And what they
Mm.
were doing was coming up with clever exercises, movements, little gadget things that were causing the horse to reach laterally, right? And I go, yeah, but are they dropping their back to do that? Are they disengaging their pelvis in order to do what you're asking? Because that's just shooting yourself in the foot. You're
Right.
just wasting your time. And the more you do it, you might gain some suppleness in the thoracic sling. But if they're doing it by dysfunctional use of
Dysfunction.
the spine
Exactly.
or the pelvis, all that
Right.
tightness is just going to snap back in place because it has to be there. If the spine and pelvis aren't stable, then the thoracic sling is tight because of that.
Right.
So,
It's all connected. It's like I was on a looking at a horse body worker site, and she was mentioning one thing does this. And I just had to answer back to me, the body's not that simple. It's not one thing does this.
no, it's
It's
a tensegrity
it's a
system.
tensegrity structure. So to
Hmm.
say this muscle just does this to this is not true.
No,
It's
it's not
part of the
accurate.
equation,
Yeah.
but and this is my beef is that's why sometimes static body work doesn't tell you exactly what's going on. It has to be in movement, and that's why I use movement with people.
Yeah. It's why I use movement with horses. Yeah.
Yeah, we both do. When I use movement because it's how we move that is dysfunctional or functional.
Changing coordination has to happen in motion because that's what coordination
Perfect.
is for. And so
Exactly.
that really puts balancing coordination much stronger in the realm of training than anything else. And even physical therapy, I consider training, but it's out of the realm of massage and all the other modalities we use. Not that they're not helpful. They're vital, they're helpful. We do them because it does help, but these static therapies will never alter habits of coordination.
That's
That,
what, habits of
yeah,
coordination is the key because they are habitual.
yeah. And it's going to make like what we call muscle memory. I go, that's a habit of coordination. We learn how
Hmm.
to ride a bike, that becomes a habit of coordination. We learn how to ride a horse, habit of coordination. Most of us
Hmm.
spent the rest of our life trying to have a better habit of coordination on a horse.
Right.
But when we're just trying to kind of get tasks and maneuvers done, we're not like coordination isn't even on the radar in a horse or a person.
We proved that with my way back when putting a ground pole out in front of me.
Yeah, that
I
focus
could
changed.
focus when you change that focus to a task.
Yeah, your awareness of your coordination and your horse's coordination
Exactly.
goes out the window. Yeah.
Yup.
And it is kind of a skill to develop to be able to focus on both coordination
Hmm.
and a task at the same time. And that develops slowly through practice. It's not a get her done kind of deal because
Right.
it's going to be one or the other.
Right.
So the other thing I wanted to mention with our topic being big moving horses is I hear a lot that this fabulous horse, and you had one of these, this fabulous moving horse, I can't ride. I can hardly sit the trot, especially is what I hear all the time. I can't sit the trot because my horse is such a big mover.
Hmm.
Or I have to really undulate my body in order to sit the trot because my
Right.
horse is such a big mover. And you have a horse like that, Finer Things,
Yep.
who is well bred, who very born with a lot of talent,
Hmm.
had all the right puzzle pieces in place. And her trot was like, it just stopped people in their tracks. It's
Yeah.
so gorgeous. It has so much suspension.
Yeah, I forget
Yeah.
that word. Yuck.
It's so animated. It has so much
Yep.
suspension. And you're like, but I can't ride it.
I can't
She
ride it.
bounces me out of the saddle. And so initially you go, teach me how to ride her trot. And
Hmm.
I go, no, the reason you can't ride her trot is because as pretty as it looks, it's very dysfunctional.
Right.
And that can be like a shock to hear that.
Hmm.
But I go, when we can't sit a horse's trot as easily as we sit the walk or pretty darn close, then that horse doesn't have a balanced trot. And
Right. Bingo.
no matter the length of stride, the speed of the trot, or the size of the horse, I go, a horse in balance who's regulating their own trot, slow, fast, big strides, little strides, piaffe, passage, whatever. I go, when the horse regulates it and balances correctly, it's pretty easy to sit. I go, I just quit teaching sitting trot because I go, that just means your horse is out of balance if you can't sit your horse's trot.
Good point.
Yeah, I go, rising trot is for the purpose of developing balance in the trot for horses. I go, so the rising trot is what allows us to stay stable when the horse is producing is unbalanced. That's what the rising trot's for. And
Right.
so rising trot we can do on a very unbalanced, dysfunctional horse and start guiding
Mhm.
that horse into better coordination. But if we're bouncing around and can't keep our own torso stable, we have to post the trot in order to stay stable.
Just stay on
Sometimes on, but mostly stable.
with finer things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just see people contorting themselves into more and more dysfunctional use while riding a big trot.
And that's a good point. I don't know the exact numbers, but I hear. a lot of the dressage riders are having
Physical issues.
changes in their low back.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the rider's going to suffer and the horse is going to suffer, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a toss-up who's going down first. It's-
Especially if you're a competitive rider or trainer or,
Yeah.
this repetitive. It's one thing if you're just an owner rider, but somebody that's doing this.
Well, and for example, in dressage, where the fashion is gravitating to people leaning back farther and farther, I go, that is going to wreak havoc on the human body. I don't care how
Yeah.
you slice it or dice it. You're not going to get away with
No.
that, even with big thigh blocks and leveraged
No.
bits. You're only going to get away with that in your own body for so long.
It's the physics of it.
Yeah.
You're behind vertical
And I go, you
compression stuff.
you can't fool Mother Nature.
No,
I go, you can't cheat Mother Nature. It just is what it is.
exactly.
Yeah. So anything else we want to touch on regarding big moving horses? Because it's unfortunately the leaning back, the fast speeds, the big strides, even in the free walk in dressage. The free walk
Hmm.
is supposed to indicate that your horse has been lifting the back and engaging the hindquarters during the test. Because when you lengthen the reins and allow the horse to choose their speed of the walk, they should want to lengthen their frame to get some relief from the work of lifting their back and keeping their hindquarters engaged. And so they should naturally sort of fall into a long and low. And maybe they take longer strides, maybe they don't. I go, but what it's become is they want to see huge ground covering strides with a long, low neck, or at least with a long neck and a
Hmm.
loose rein. And that's what's pushing horses into lateralizing the walk.
Hmm.
The main culprit is the free walk, which is so ironic to me because I go, it's supposed to be a letting go. It's supposed to be a release of the working muscles, not
Right.
more work.
Not another version of tension.
Yeah, and I call it the elephant walk because sometimes it's
It looks like it.
almost lateral, but it looks
And the
unstable.
back is just like doing this weird stuff.
Yeah, because that's what I mean by unstable.
Yeah.
Like the back and the hindquarters look so unstable to me the longer the strides are. And then it sneaks into becoming a lateralized walk, which, like I said, should be a point of elimination from the test.
Yes.
I just think it's so unhealthy and dysfunctional
Hmm.
for horses to lateralize their legs, walk or trot on dry land.
Right.
I go, that
I
should be
agree.
a point of elimination. That should not be part acceptable in any test.
I agree.
Yeah. And try it for yourself if you don't believe me. It is
Yeah, do
not
it in your own
comfortable.
body. See how that feels.
Yeah. So anything else we want to cover?
No,
We're
just
we're a little
let
bit,
people know, be curious about looking at the kinematics of the back instead of the legs
or the use of the neck. I go,
and the use of the neck.
the use of the neck is the last thing, it's the last part of a horse's axial skeleton to
Hmm.
show balance or imbalance. The imbalance or the balance happens in the thoracolumbar spine and the pelvis first. And then it's reflected in the use of the neck because horses with all four legs or limbs on the ground, horses use their neck the same way we use our arms. If we're going to slip or if we're on a balance beam, we stick our arms out to help us stabilize,
Hmm.
right? And that's how horses use their neck. They use it as a stabilizing tool when the balance is lost in the torso, the back and the hindquarters. And so if we restrict the neck, it actually makes it harder for them to adjust and find balance,
Right.
right? And so you can look at the use of the neck that can be man-made or natural with a horse and kind of infer what's going on through the back and the hindquarters, even if we can't see it.
Yep.
So I go every time I see short, tight necks, I go the back is down. The hindquarters are
Right.
disengaged.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just having a long neck doesn't necessarily mean the back is lifting and the hindquarters are engaged, but at least it's not going the wrong way.
Exactly.
But we think we lift the back and engage the hindquarters by shortening the neck. And I go,
No.
well, not really,
No.
because there's no way you could do that for an individual horse in precisely the right way.
Mm-mm.
There's no
It
way.
doesn't work that way.
Yeah. That's
Mm-mm.
just not how a horse's body works.
Exactly.
So if they don't have some freedom to adjust their neck like it's an appendage, like our arms, then it's very hard for them to ever find their balance.
Right.
No matter what, even if you can do Grand Prix. I
Yeah.
go, the maneuvers
I'm
don't
like,
matter.
I think that's the key. It's not the maneuvers that create balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're a little bit spicy today. It was just that kind of
Yeah.
day.
Oh
Feeling
well.
a little spicy.
It's the hurricanes coming up the East Coast.
Yeah. And I really like this is not to offend dressage rider. It's not to offend anybody, especially competition. Like I think the reason I talk about this with you and we have these spicy days is because it's bad for horses.
Mhm.
You know, at the end of the day, that's what I care about because they don't have a say in this deal.
Right.
And if we don't recognize what's good for horses and what's not good for horses,
Hmm.
first of all, we're going to get kicked out of the Olympics if we don't figure that out. And
Good
because
point.
we're not building athletes.
No, we're tearing them down.
Yeah. And secondly, it's like the medical bills. Oh my God, the medical bills when we don't realize what's happening during
Hmm.
every training session. We're either going to have a horse that becomes so unsafe we can't ride him anymore,
It right.
or we're going to go down that rabbit hole of lameness diagnostics and try to
Yeah.
figure out what's wrong.
When I had my guy here that was the Grand Prix guy, and I had her kind of write a journal of everything she could possibly remember about him. She bought him as a 5-year-old. And by the time she said she called me one day and she said, I didn't realize when all this started. But
Only in hindsight.
with the
Hmm.
hindsight of the journaling of they were starting to inject tox when he was 6.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem. If the perception is that tasks, actions, or maneuvers produce balance as a side effect, then nobody really has a clear understanding of what balance means.
Good point. That is probably why we're here.
So we're kind of comparing more dysfunction to less dysfunction.
Right.
But I cut people a ton of slack because I've spent 20 years trying to even understand what does that mean?
Right.
What does it mean to be for horse balance? What does it mean for a rider to be balanced? What does it
Hmm.
mean to have mechanically correct function or anything? And I had to really search. I had to really seek and go in and out of the horse business to
Down the
kind of
rabbit hole.
find, yeah, to find answers.
Hmm.
So it's not easy information to find. And if we don't know what a balanced horse does look like,
Hmm.
how would we even recognize that our horse is not balanced because they're doing what we're asking?
They're doing what we ask.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
get it. So this is not to throw shade on anybody. This is maybe just to cause people to pause a minute.
Just take a different look.
Yeah, look at it a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be curious.
Be
That's where
curious
we
about what am I seeing? Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing?
and I think because we put so much effort into our training programs,
Hmm.
right? That we lose the curiosity and we become protective over what we know because it took a lot of work. It was
And money.
and money and
And
time,
money.
right? It wasn't easy. And so we're like, no, 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 don't make me start over. Don't let me,
You
I'm
said
not,
what?
what? I'm not going to look at things a different way. That's crazy talk.
That's what we
Yeah.
spend our lives doing, though. So we're kind
Well,
of
and
out
that's
there.
that's where it starts. I mean,
Yeah.
how are we going
Start
to know?
questioning.
How are we going to know anything different until we,
If we don't question and be curious,
yeah, if we don't question what we're doing and we're too busy defending what we're doing, we're not going to be able to learn new stuff.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And you and I, at one point in our own career with horses, I was that person.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I drank the Kool-Aid. Yep.
Yeah, no,
Many, many different training philosophies have we both been through.
and I came up in very traditional English styles of riding,
Hmm.
and that was just how you thought. Like I didn't even know enough to question it for a lot of time, a
Right.
lot of
I didn't
years.
as a 6-year-old child. I had a German riding instructor at a academy in Boston. Come on.
But even when I was old enough and I started having problems with my horses, my first thought was not to question what I knew. That was my last thought.
I agree, me too.
Yeah. And I went,
I
oh,
wasn't listening to the horse, probably,
but
as much as my own agenda.
it
Yeah,
was the most important thought because it led to breakthroughs, it led to more awareness, it led to more understanding, it led to more clarity. But
right.
until I sort of even considered questioning what I thought I knew,
Mhm.
none of that started.
And it's kind of like comparing it to science and research because we hold the highest standards to the research we get. But what I learned from all the workshops I went to is scientists are trying to debunk
Each other.
all the work.
Yeah.
So it's really not, it's the truth as we know it for now. But there's
Yes.
always new information out there.
And not only that, but even the best scientific theories that are well proven, that have been,
Hmm.
constantly under the pressure of disprovement and held up, it's like it still is going to affect an individual horse or person in its own way. Like that's the
Right.
wild card. I
That is the
go, we kind of know this is going to help or this is going to get us there, but how the body, which is mostly out of our control,
individual.
how
Hmm.
that body responds could be vastly different. And there's even things like spontaneous remission, spontaneous healing,
Hmm.
the placebo effect, where the
Yep.
body healed itself just because of perceptions. I go, that's a big
Right.
fat wild card too.
Hmm.
So I think tapping into our own intelligence is super helpful. And we can't do that without really always kind of questioning, is that really
Right.
true right now for this
For
situation,
this situation,
for this
yeah.
horse, for this person?
Yep.
And when shit's going sideways, it's probably not working.
And like yesterday with Milo, just that little pushback, I went, okay, I need to listen to that.
Yeah,
Either I'm not communicating well or he's not ready.
he either doesn't understand or he's
Mhm.
telling you, I can't do that right
I
this
can't,
minute.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Or even I don't think I can do that right this
I
minute.
don't think I can.
Yeah,
And boy, that matters too.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we better wrap it up. Thank you guys for wandering through another meandering podcast with us. And
The
like I
lows
said,
of the hurricane.
I really hope if you're still here, then you weren't too offended by our spicy conversation today. And if you're gone, then you don't get to hear us saying we didn't intend that, right?
We're
But
just here for the horse
yeah, whether it's good for horses or not
or
horses,
humans.
and good for humans or not
Mm,
good for humans, it has to be somebody's priority.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so we volunteered and you
We
get to
volunteer.
listen to it. But thanks for joining us for another Horse Geeks episode. Please like, share, subscribe, all the usual yada, yada, yada. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate your interest, and we thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye for now.